Pink Poodle Crafts, join the Poodle Pack. It's time to get creative and make you laugh. Make your own art today. Pink Poodle Crafts is the way.
What a good boy.
Hey crafty family, it is me. And today we are going to do another Screw It and Do It. And this one is dedicated to Miss Sandy Walters, who asked me. She said she had missed me doing these, and I hadn't done any in a while. Not for any other reason, but because I've been either busy or just had things to do. So I'm going to do it. And basically, if you don't know what this is basically it's a way for you to do a little something, and it's for adding in some art in your life in a small way, so you can get something like a Rolodex like I have here, where you have these little cards and do something on them, and just to do some sort of art. I've done all kinds of things in the past, you know, since I've started doing this. I've done all kinds of different little arts. It's kind of like doing ATCs, but not ATCs, and you're doing it just for yourself, just to have like a, you know, maybe you don't have time to do like a full what do you call it, journal pages, but maybe you have time to do something smaller, you know, like these little cards. And you don't have to use a Rolodex. You don't have to go out and go, well, I don't have a Rolodex, and I don't have any access to one of these old Rolodexes, so I guess I can't do it. Nope, wrong. Not the case. You could take an index card, a 3x5 card, and you can cut them in half vertically and use two, you know, you'll get two cards out of it pretty much. Not, maybe they won't be exactly the same size, but it doesn't matter what size it is. It does not matter as long as it's small and it's something you can do on a small scale. You could take index cards, cut them in half, poke holes in them in the corner, and then put a ring in them and just have a ring of cards. I do have a ring of cards somewhere because I did make one. I just don't know what I did with it, but it's somewhere around here. I don't know what I did with it. So you could do that. You do not have to have a Rolodex. Do not let that become the focus, because so many people in the comments, every time I do this, say, oh, I want to go find a Rolodex. You don't need it. It's just that I had this. I got it at the Creative Reuse, and the size was right. But you don't have to have this. Don't let that stop you from doing this. Do it with whatever you have. You can make it however you want. You could take copy paper cardstock, and cut it into little cards and do it that way. You could do all kinds of things. So please don't focus on the fact that I'm using a Rolodex, because that's irrelevant. It's just anything to get you to do little pieces of art as often as you can, you know, like, because a lot of people don't have time to sit down and do an entire big thing, or even, you know, sometimes you don't have time to do an ATC, and sometimes people put too much pressure on an ATC, because ATC means that you're going to give it or trade it to somebody else. This is for you. This isn't to give away. This isn't to give to anybody else. It's just for you. It's just yours. So it's not something that you're going to give away. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't come out great. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. It's just for you to play with. And you can always go back and tweak anything that you do. So let's say you don't like something, big deal. You put it in, you put the date on the back of it, and, you know, whatever. And which is something I didn't really remember to do on a lot of these, is put the date on them, even though I should have. But you should put the date on the back. And I have these, since it's in a Rolodex, I have them like kind of, each one that I did, I put like, you know, I don't know, I guess I put them, if it's, you know, C, I put Christmas or whatever. Or when I did this one with the cupcakes, I put this under C for cupcakes, stuff like that. But obviously you don't have to do that. That's just because I happen to have the dividers there, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, so basically it's just a piece of art that you do when you just have a few minutes of time, and you don't have tons of time to do like a huge thing. You know, you don't have a lot of time to do like a large piece of artwork, but maybe you have a few minutes. And even if you don't know what to do, if you don't have an idea of what to do, just throw some paint or ink, or maybe just sit with your oxide inks and make a bunch of little backgrounds, and then put them in, you know, either your Rolodex, or put them in clipped onto a, you know, one of those binder rings or whatever. and just keep them. And then the next time you have time to sit down and do something, maybe you'll grab one of those backgrounds and you'll go, oh, I know what I can do. And you can decorate it somehow. So you don't have to finish the whole thing all in one shot. You can do it over time. You could just do a bunch of backgrounds and then come back and do something else the next time you have time. Whatever, you know, it's up to you. It's kind of like the sky's the limit. So I've got this fabric and I've got this card, and I was thinking about putting it on here. However, I don't know how that might not be the most best way to do this, because that might take forever to dry, and I don't want to sit here on video taking 9 years to dry something. I am going to do like a Halloween thing. So what I think I'm going to do is use this paper as a background. And I think that'll work better because the fabric will take me a while to dry, and I don't want to have to edit the video, and I realized that I'd have to cut out those little spots, and it might not cut out very easily, and it might be a pain in my butt, and I don't feel like doing it. And this is supposed to be a quick little fun piece of art. It's not supposed to take 9 years to do it. I mean, you can. If you have time, you can sit and do a bunch of them. But mostly the point is to do these little pieces of art when you don't have time to do something major and you only have time to do something small. That's the good time to do, you know, that's a good time to sit and do one of these type of things. Because everybody has a couple of minutes. You know what I mean? If you take 5 or 10 minutes to sit down and even just start it, and then the next time you have 5 or 10 minutes, you can finish it. Because it shouldn't take forever to do, you know? It's not supposed to be something that takes forever to do. It's supposed to be something that, you know, that is capable of being done in a matter of just a few minutes of time, whether that's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever you have time for. And there we go. And I could even round the edges on this a little bit because they were slightly rounded. The card is typically. And there we go. Covered it with a background. Woohoo! Now I've got these Halloween stamps. They're in my store. I'm not sure if I have any left in there. I might. Well, I don't need that. I wanted to do it on. What I was going to do is there was these little apothecary, sorry, I can't say the word, bottles, and I wanted to cut them out, but I don't know if that's going to be too dark. It might be. I can try it and then cut them out and put them on there. Apothecary bottles. It might be too dark. If it is, well, oh well. Yeah, I can't even see them to cut them out, let alone. Let's see if I have a lighter color paper. Oh, I know it would be fun to do it at a book page. I didn't even think of that. That would be interesting. That would for sure show up. There we go. Let's see, let me get my better scissors for this type of thing. And cut out these little bottles. But this is good whether or not you have very little time, or you're just like, you feel like creating, you know, because all of us have gone through that where we feel like creating, but we don't know what to create. We're just like, oh, but what do I create? And then you're like, I don't know. And that's how you end up in like a creative slump, is because you don't know what to create, and then it turns into like you just not creating. Same with if you let your desk get too messy, it could throw you into a creative slump, which is why I'm a big advocate of cleaning up your area, even though, you know, you don't want to, and you know, if your first inclination is to not clean up after you're done, I advise you not to get into that bad habit, because it could ultimately make you go into a creative slump. And so I am a huge advocate for saying, you know, to yourself, okay, but it just needs to be done. And when you're done creating, make sure you clean up after yourself, because I'm telling you, it'll make all the world a difference to come in the next day and be like, have all this cleaned off and ready to create, because then you'll feel like creating. But if you don't clean it off, what ends up happening is then you don't clean it, and then it becomes a catch-all for things, and then you'll buy more things, but you still haven't cleaned your desk off. So then you'll put the things that you bought, just throw them up on your desk and be like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then eventually your desk ends up like a disaster, and you don't create, and you just end up with this giant mess. And then you're pissed at yourself that you let it get that way. So to solve that problem, you're going to have to put the willpower in to get off your butt when you're done creating and clean up your mess. You know, it's like we tell our little kids when they're, you know, 2 and 3 years old, yeah, if you're going to take it out, you got to clean it up. And that's just the way it has to be. Otherwise, you're running the risk of not getting, I know plenty of people that say, oh, you know, unfortunately, I can't create right now because I have to get this mess cleaned up. And then a month later, if I ask them, how's it going? Have you done any creating? No, I still haven't got it cleaned up. Well, that's how you end up in a creative slump. And that creative slump could last a long time if you don't get it cleaned up. So you might as well clean up every time you create, because it'll literally take you 5 or 10 minutes to do it, and it'll be done, and you won't have to worry about it. But if you let it go and let it go and let it go, it's going to take you hours to clean it up, and nobody wants to do that. And that's how you end up procrastinating. So, you know, that 5 or 10 minutes, everybody has 5 or 10 minutes to clean up. Because if you have time to make the mess, make time to clean it up. Add that into your creative time and make that an important thing. Don't skip over that and be like, oh, I'll do it later. Especially if you know you're prone to letting it sit. Don't ever say, I'll do it later. That's just, you know, you should know yourself enough to know what your triggers are and what makes you end up in that slump to begin with. And what, you know, end up having that mess to begin with. So you should know better than to allow it. Like, I try to teach this to Chris all the time, because, you know, he does the things, and I don't understand this. Oops, I ripped it a little bit, but it's going to get glued down, so it doesn't matter. He'll, like, you know, he'll work from home, and he'll lay on the couch with his laptop on his lap, but kind of like half sitting up, half laying down, and he'll fall asleep while he's working. And like, I say to him, why do you bother getting on the couch? Why don't you sit up at the table where you know you can't fall asleep because you're at a table and you're on a wooden chair, and do your work, instead of putting yourself in the position to where you know you're going to fall asleep, and you might end up getting in trouble for, you know, because he has, like, his work is like timed or whatever, they because it's done through a program. I don't know. Anyway, my point is, I'm always telling him to get off your ass and sit at the table and stop laying down and putting yourself in the position of falling asleep, because that's what you're doing. You are enabling yourself to get, because then he'll go, oh, I'm tired, I don't mean to fall asleep. I'm like, yes, but if you know that that's what's going to happen, if you're aware enough about yourself to know that that is a flaw that you have within yourself, that the second you hit a soft surface, you're going to fall asleep, then don't sit in that soft surface until you're done working. Like, I don't understand. It's a very simple concept. You know, if you know you have to work, don't sit where you think you're going to fall asleep. But he does it anyway, and I don't understand that. It makes no sense to me. But, you know, and that's the same with, like, the cleaning up thing. If you know that you're prone to, you know, making a mess and walking away and going, oh, I'll do it later, and then never actually doing it, then that means you need to stop walking away and just get it done immediately in order to avoid the same thing happening over and over again. It's just, you have to just be diligent about yourself and be real with yourself. You know what I mean? Be honest with yourself and know that, okay, this is something that happens because I walk away and I don't come back to it like I think I'm going to, and then I end up in a mess. So to stop that, you have to then make a new habit and force yourself to do something you don't want to do, just to avoid the fact that of making it worse later. And that's, you know, that's a good thing to kind of push yourself to do, is to find new habits that are better, that make it easier for you, you know, in the long run. I have to do it myself because I have bad habits that I've had to break because it was causing me to, you know, not get done what I need to get done, or like when I would go back to something, it would be, you know, not done, and I'd you know, have extra work for myself because I didn't do it before. And it's, everybody has those things, you know. You just have to be willing to catch it and deal with it and change it and make it different. Now I'm going to figure this out. I have these, I'm going to color them. I probably should zoom you in a little bit because I realize I'm like zoomed out to all hell. And you can't see nothing I'm doing, I would imagine. Whoops. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. Whoops. Sorry. Okay. Focus. Let's try that again. I hit the wrong button. Let's try that again. This mouse is such a pain in my ass. Okay. This here. Okay, there we go. You can see a little better. It's not perfect. I'm also going to turn off the autofocus. Okay. So, anyway, I'm cutting. I decided I'm going to just put them on here and then cut them out and see what I don't know, see how I like it, maybe. Maybe I'll do that there. Trick or treat, smell my feet. I'll probably do a few Halloween ones over the next month or so, hopefully. I don't mean to, I'm not trying to neglect my screw it and do it. Ooh, that's not good. All right, so maybe we won't do that because it's not showing up. It looks better on camera, but in person, I don't care for it. So in that case, what we're going to do is do it on a, or we can still do it on a book page. Just do it up here where there's no book, but it'll still have the same color, like coloring as the background of the, there we go. That's better. That's a good idea. And then I can just cut it out. Oops, I lost my owl. I'm going to cut it a little closer to the writing. Yeah, sometimes we have to get, you know, we have to discipline ourselves, and it's not easy to do because, believe me, I'm the worst. And it's a pain in the ass, you know. It really is such a pain in the ass to have to discipline yourself. But unfortunately, if you don't, the consequences are, well, then bad things happen, or you end up having to put more time into something than you want to, and it just becomes a pain in the ass. So disciplining yourself is a pain in the ass as well. However, I'm going to have to use colored pencils on these because I realized I did not use a waterproof ink, so I can't like use watercolor like I was planning on. And I'm just sitting here messing around. I'm not doing anything like, ooh, you know, so great or important. I'm just screwing around, and that's what I think everybody should do. Just screw around and sit here and create, and even if it doesn't look great or it's not like some I'm not doing some magical piece of art here. I'm just playing. And that's all it is. That's all Screw It and Do It is. Just playing. I mean, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece because at the end of the day, you're just playing around. And that's how it should be. Just play around and do some creating because it might spark something. You know, it also might make you think, ooh, I want to do this on a larger scale, or I have an idea for something down the line, you know, so, you know, it might spark something also, or even if it doesn't, who cares? Just do what you can do for a few minutes because, you know, doing some sort of creating is better than doing none. So, taking a few minutes out of your day to make a little card. And like I said, you don't have to spend as much time as I am on it. And you can just do a few minutes of it and then come back to it later to do the rest of it. Now I need some sort of colored pencils. I'm trying to think of what I did with those pencils. Okay, maybe they're here. Wait. But they're hard to get to because I've got a ton of stuff in front of it. I never go in here. Okay, yeah, that's them. There we go. These are those Jane Davenport no. Are they watercolor pencils? Magic wand pencils. No, I don't think they are. So I think I might glue them on and then color them just because it's going to be really hard to hold it and color it. I should have done it before I cut them out, but as long as I'm just putting glue stick on the back of it and I'm not putting glue on the front, then it shouldn't be an issue to glue it down. And that's going to be a little off center so I don't cut off my little guy. But like I said, it's my art and I don't have to do it any particular way. I could do it however I want and it's fine. You know, I don't have to show it to anybody. I mean, you guys are seeing it because I'm doing it on a video, so duh, but yours aren't going to be that way. Yours aren't going to be on video. I mean, unless you want them to be, then go for it. But they're just for you, you know? They don't have to be impressive to anybody. They don't even have to be impressive to you. They just have to be something you played around with, you know? Just to get the ball going. Do I not have an orange in here? This is the orange? That's it? Wow. I have never seen a color pencil set with no orange. Am I losing my mind? That's not orange. That's like a yellow. I have never seen a colored pencil set without an orange. It has every other color. Is that a joke? That's so weird. All right, let's see if I have an orange. Hold on. Hold the phone. I gotta get an orange. Ticker, I'm not going anywhere, so chill out. Just getting an orange colored pencil. Okay. I got 2 oranges. They're like Crayola orange. I don't care what they are. I wanted to outline them kind of in an orange. And I was confused as to why this set did not have an orange in it. Maybe Jane Davenport doesn't like the color orange, I guess. That's just really odd. I mean, there's a lot of blue and there's like purples and reds and a couple of greens, a couple of yellows, peach, and black and white. And there's even, is this a brown or is this like a raisin color? What color is that? Yeah, that's a brown. So like they've got pretty much everything, but there's no orange. That's bizarre. I just never heard of such a thing. Well, I use this yellowy color. This is like it's called egg yolk, but it's not orange, it's a yellow. I just wanted to give it some color. Let's do our bottles. Oh, I don't want to do them both the same color. I just don't know why that was so weird to me that there was no orange pencil. Anybody else find that kind of weird? And then we could take the black and kind of do the label lightly in black. I mean, I'm not good at coloring, so I'm not the best person for the job. These pencils don't show up very well. Let's try this one. What color is this? Flamingo. Well, you would think flamingo would be pink. I don't understand how somebody can call this flamingo. I don't get it, but maybe I'm weird. Flamingo's like a pale pink color, isn't it? Is that just me, or isn't flamingo a pale pink? Flamingos aren't dark red. I don't know. Now I'm going to ink it with black. And there's nothing special about what I just did to this card at all. Not even a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of dumb, but, you know, it was fun to do. I learned that if I want to color with these colored pencils, I should do it before I glue them down, because it'll be just easier. And I learned to use a StazOn so I can watercolor them, because they probably would have looked better if I watercolored them. But, you know, you live and you learn. And I learned that there's no orange in the Jane Davenport things. But anyway, that's all I did to them. I'm not very good at coloring, so that's all I did to that one. And I might not get far with the next ones. I think I'm just going to add glue to the background and put book page on it, and just have a book page background, and then figure out what I'm going to do from there, because I don't even know. And you don't need to know all the time. You don't got to know everything. Some people feel like, I guess, when they sit down to do art, they have to know exactly what they're doing, or else why should they sit down? And I don't believe that that's the case, because 9 times out of 10, when I sit down to do something, I have no idea what I'm about to do. I just kind of fake it as I go. I'm not good at planning out what I do. I plan out my classes, but that's about my extent of planning. When I sit down, whether I'm doing a live stream or a video, I usually don't have a whole lot of idea. Like, sometimes I'll have an idea of what I want to do, but I hadn't planned it out. I haven't sat there and like did a run through of it to see if it'll work or it's what I want to do. I just fake it. But like for a lot of times when I start live streams and stuff, like my pajama parties, I have no idea what I'm going to do 9 times out of 10. And then I sit down and go, oh, well, I can work on this. Or I'll wait till literally 5 minutes before the live stream starting, and then I'll pick what I'm going to do. And that's the truth. I just don't think that far ahead. I just kind of wing it. Like tonight I'm doing a live stream, and I still don't know what I'm doing for that live stream. I might make a couple of cards or something, but I don't know yet. And I won't know until I sit down and start like doing it. I know I started this journal cover, and I wanted to make a journal, and I might work on that. Who knows? With me, it's a crapshoot. Never know. Okay, so I've got some book page on here. So what now? I'm like, what now? What can I do with this now? Maybe we can put some trim on it, and that'll get me started. So let me put some trim at the top here. And I think I'll use, should I see if the Elmer's will hold it? Let's see. I wonder if it'll hold it. It holds that other, ooh, I should have done that. That's all right. I can still use that. Let's see if this will hold a small lace. I'll be surprised if it does. If it doesn't, well, then I'll just get something else to glue it with. If it does, that'll be awesome. I'm not sure it does. No. I don't think it's going to, no. Okay. That's okay. Because I have other glue that'll work, like this stuff here. Oh, you could see where you could see that the book page got darker when I put the glue on. Well, we're just going to add this to it and hope that this will hold it down. Because I didn't turn my glue gun on, and I don't want to waste a lot of time waiting for that to come on. Because I want to try to put this up. I'm going live in 2 hours, and I want to try to put this up prior to that. Oh, that works. I could tell that worked. That'll work. Perfect. That glue does have a use after all. Okay, so we have a little border. Let me see what I have behind me in my bag of tricks back here. Let's see. What kind of junk do I have? Oh, you know what? I have this stupid pumpkin. That won't work. It's too big. It takes up too much room. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I got this bag. I've been picking at this bag for a couple years, but I've got these cool little, like, look like sequiny things. See, I just wing it. I don't care. I'm just making something, so I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to be happy with making something. Not a masterpiece. Not everything has to be a masterpiece. And sometimes it's good to break out of your comfort zone and not make a masterpiece. It's as easy as that. I'm going to get some black stays on because there is a face on this pumpkin that's kind of embossed. So I'm going to try and make the ink show up on that, which I was able to do on just the embossed part so that now you can see the face. I mean, sometimes we just need to be happy with, I don't want to say mundane, but just whatever, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just need to be happy with whatever comes and not worry so much about making this uber masterpiece piece of art every time you sit down. And some people do that to themselves. They pressure themselves. I mean, obviously, we don't need to have everything be a masterpiece. Sometimes it's just for fun. You know, don't forget that art is supposed to be fun. I mean, look at this. It's nothing special at all. But I made it, and I like it. I'm fine with it. It's just for me. I wouldn't give it to anybody, but what's the date? 9/20/18. I gotta remember to date these. But sometimes it just is nice to sit down and do nothing. Do you know what I mean? With no meaning, with no thought, with no like planning or pressure. It's just sitting down and doing mindless artwork. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I may have to put a clip on here just because especially where the fabric is. I'll put 2 clips. One on that side and one on this side to give it a chance to stick a little better. This one I might have a little bit of trouble with. Ooh, you know what I should do with that one is use a pop dot. Let me get a dot. I have those here somewhere. Here we go. A couple of these suckers, and then it'll stick up too. But it's kind of got a concave to it, so it might be easier just to do it with this and not try to fight that concave on this pumpkin. I could probably fit 3. But, you know, we have to get out of that. I mean, those who are in that mindset of, well, everything's got to be this perfect thing, and, you know, everything's got to have some sort of meaning behind it, and everything's got to be, you know, you got to do everything with some sort of conviction, with some sort of meaning, with some sort of purpose. No. No. That's how you stump yourself. That's how you stunt your art growth, is by making everything have to be this thing. I mean, yeah, it's, you know, like, I get that some people just they have this competition in their heart to be the best, and they have to do everything they have to do has to be like this awesome, creative, super uber awesome piece of art. Well, I got news for you. No. Just no. It doesn't have to be that way at all. And in fact, oh, that would be cool to have him like right there. That's cute. Have him like, oh man, can I move the pumpkin? Is that possible? Even if I have to put glue down. Yeah, that's fine. I'll put glue on it because it pulled up a little of the paper. But I want my skeleton somewhere where it's got room. So I'm going to put the pumpkin over on this side so that I can put my little skeleton guy down here so he has some room. Because here he was kind of running into the little holes. That's why sometimes it's not good to use a Rolodex, because you, like, this whole bottom area you kind of have to be careful with. So it's not always the most fun place. I am going to put another pop dot there, even though that should be enough, just for the simple fact that I don't know how well these pop dots, oh, never mind, it doesn't have any stick to it whatsoever, and that is awfully big. Well, we'll make it work. But like I was saying, don't put so much pressure on yourself that everything has to be perfect. I think people like to, you know, make their art and see, I was like this too at one point in time. You know, all my art had to have like some sort of purpose. If I was going to sit down and do something, I was going to do this perfect thing and this major thing, and then everybody had to see it, or I had to do it for like a competition. You know, there's like those online competitions and stuff, like with different groups and different this, that, and the other. And it's like, that's all I ever did art for a period of time, because I just, you know, and I think it was like when I first started realizing that there was art groups on Facebook and stuff, that's when I started doing that. This was a few years ago. And like, I was always doing stuff that had to be perfect and had to be entered in some sort of thing. And I don't know. And it just, you know, and it just became a hassle. And I realized after a while, it was like, why am I doing this? It's not fun. And it's not making me happy to do this. So why am I bothering? Just do things to have fun, you know, be like a kid. When you were a kid, you would just sit down with your whatever you had in front of you, and you would just create to create, and you didn't think about it. And it was so fun, you know? Remember all those times? It used to be fun to sit there with coloring books and crayons and scissors and glue stuff to things and not think about it. Well, you know, sometimes it's nice to get back to that and to just have fun. I'm not saying you have to use a coloring book and crayons. I mean, you can. But what I'm saying is sometimes it's nice to just sit and do something, even if it has no real purpose. And I don't have an orange ink pad. Yes, I do. I don't think this one is good for rubbing the outsides necessarily. A little bit, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, we need to, like, sometimes just do things to do things. It doesn't always have to have some deeper meaning behind it. Just have fun. Just make stupid stuff. We all have stuff that we, you know, have around the house, or let's say stuff we've gotten in Happy Mails that we don't necessarily know what to do with, or it's not something we typically would use, but we, you know, we want to use it, or, you know, like I've gotten things, you know, that I'm just like, you know, racking my mind. Okay, what am I going to do? Oh, this will work cute. These are like, I think these are like photo corners, but look how cute they are. They're like little autumn leaves, but I think it'll look cute if I do take off the photo corner part of it and just take the little leaves and put them around the pumpkin. And just like glue it. Maybe I'll take this one off, put these two on that side and the other one on the other side. But anyway, what I'm, you know, just sit down and sometimes just have fun, and you don't have to take a picture of it. You don't have to show anybody. Just do it for you and keep it, and just let it be just something where you sat and had a good time. And the best time to do it too is like if you have grandkids or kids that are young, sit down and work with them, you know. Do art like they're doing art. Do it for just the sheer fun of it. Not everything has to be so serious, and you don't have to make everything about, you know, I mean, I'm not afraid to sit here and make things like this that aren't the most biggest masterpiece. I'm just sticking stickers on a thing, you know. I don't care. Not everything has to be a masterpiece. Who cares? You know, we spend so much time. Did I put that bag in here? I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. We spend so much time worrying about, you know, everything's got to be perfect, and oh, I can't show anybody unless it's perfect, and that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself for a hobby, you know, because for most of us, this is a hobby, you know. And sometimes, oh, maybe I'll stick Mr. Ghost here because he didn't seem to want to go back in the package, so we'll put him on. So it'll have a little bit of everything. Just enjoy your art. You got supplies, you know, like some of this stuff people gave me and I didn't even know. I was like, well, what am I, you know, how am I going to incorporate it? And I just get it out and use it for stuff like this, and it's a lot of fun, you know. And I've been doing this for 43 minutes and you don't even realize the time goes by. But really, you know, 10 minutes is all you need. You didn't have to finish something. I didn't have to finish the whole thing. I could have started the backgrounds and then came back next day when I had more time. If you have time to do 40 minutes, fantastic. But this is good for like when you don't have a lot of time. You could start something and then finish it the next time you have a couple minutes. And just, you know, so there's my 2 little cards for today. That's good for me. These are my 2 little, they'll go under H for Halloween. And that's it. I'm happy with them. I had fun. I created, you know, that's it. So I hope you'll give it a try. If you haven't already started your little screw it and do it, whether it's a little book or 3x5 cards or whatever you want to use, as long as it's small. Keep it small so that you're not overwhelming yourself. If you go to a thrift store, you might find these Rolodexes there. You know, if I ever see them, I try to grab them, and I might you know, if I grab them, I might put them for a few dollars in my thing and mostly just pay shipping on them in my Zibbit store. I don't have any extra ones right now, but if I find them in the future, maybe I'll do that. But overall, you don't need that. Obviously, if I didn't have that, I still would have been doing this. I just happened to have that. And I was like, well, I want to do like little pieces of art that aren't necessarily ATCs, something you don't trade or give away, something you keep for yourself. And then I remembered I had that. So it was an afterthought. So just do something with any old paper that you have. So anyway, give this video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And yeah, look at the links in the description because I do have live streams that I do during the week. Wednesday we do Mixed Media Mashup, and then I have other live streams. Like tonight I'm doing a live stream, but you have to be a part of my Patreon at least $1 a month on my Patreon to be involved in those live streams. So if you're interested in that, the links are all in the description below. And I also have a Facebook group. You should join that because we have a great supportive group of women in that group. And it's a safe place to share your art, and there's no judgment, and nobody, you know, will ever say bad things about it. And because we all support each other and care about each other, and that's the way it should be. So, you know, come in and join our group. There's no obligation. It's free to join. And yeah, you meet new friends. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you'll give this a try, and let me know in the description or in the comments below if you have given this a try yet, or if you plan to give it a try. And I'll talk to you guys later. Make sure you do what you love and love what you do, and have a good day, and be nice to people. Bye.